Well, I mean, while we're on the topic of that too, of AI, I guess, I don't think it's replacing jobs anytime soon in blue collar work because it's going to be really hard to replicate processes that we do in
Hmm.
construction. I mean, anybody who's been on a construction site for, any amount of time knows how dynamic and changing it is. And if you're doing like a trade that requires a lot of skill and attention to detail, like I would say concrete, it'd be
Hmm.
really hard to replicate that with some sort of AI, robot or process. Like we would have to totally overhaul the way we do it, which we're seeing in the 3D printed houses. It's like a completely different building process
Hmm.
that is adapting to technology, but I don't think that's very reasonable for the whole industry, at least not yet. Because, I mean, this is all to say AI is a concern right now for taking people's jobs. And I would say, especially in the marketing industry, a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to have our jobs taken away. That's not going to happen in construction, like, not for quite a long time. I mean, I would be very hard pressed to see it replace what we do without replacing the entire process of how we do it.
Yeah, what I will say with AI, especially in construction, because that's an easy one to talk on. Most people think of autonomous robots finishing concrete, right? And it's like it will start with the office and making it
Yep.
easier and more
Which is
accurate,
happening right now,
which is already
Yeah.
happening and has been happening. It just depends on whether or not you've implemented some of these new tools that are out that can make your jobs easier. And so a lot of it is going to be on the organization side, the scheduling side, the repeatable tasks as we try and eliminate those just to become more
Yeah.
efficient as thought leaders and as leadership in your company as well. And office managers, your sales team. I'm super curious to see what it does on the estimating side and how the estimators will use AI to improve their estimates and to speed those up.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited as that continues to develop to get some of those on the podcast to see what tools are they seeing, what are they using, and how has it helped them improve their estimates. All that to say, I think it's going to be a lot more of that, like communication, back office. We're using a lot on the marketing side, which has been
Yeah.
awesome. SOPs, like dialing in your meetings, recaps, all this kind of stuff. I think it's just going to provide more efficiency. I think we're still a ways away, a long ways away from autonomous robots completing the work that needs to be done.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I always am saying, like, you've seen the robots throwing up drywall and stuff.
Yeah.
I've only seen them do very simple things. They lift the drywall up and set it on. I mean, it's like very rudimentary stuff, very, very baseline. There's a lot of things in construction that are you're dealing with crappy materials. I mean, say you're a framer, you're
Yep.
dealing with lumber that's not very good and obviously not very straight anymore. We've got crappy lumber nowadays. You're dealing with concrete, which is an imperfect material, and you never know what's
Mhm.
going to happen with it. Like there's way too many things that are too dynamic and too detail oriented. I just think it's not going to be able to think on the fly to come up with solutions to problems that are not just like clean cut. And that
Yeah.
might be me being biased towards the industry, but it just doesn't seem reasonable to have a robot be able to replicate that with the software and AI being able to think for itself and be able to replace the people within anywhere within 10 years. I just don't see it happening because the robot technology is not there, the AI is not there yet, and the accessibility is not there yet for both and all of them together. So I mean, it's a ways away before it happens, which is why I say overhauling the process
Mhm.
is probably the closest we'll get. 3D printed homes, but those are still flat
It's
land. Got to build up your whole structure around where the home's going to be to get it to work. I mean, you're not building it up on a mountainside where we are right now in Utah
yeah.
doing that type of stuff. Like,
The AI driven leader. It's by
oh,
Jeff Woods. What I thought was really interesting, it addresses the AI phenomenon of what we've been talking about, right? And how it's going to replace everyone's jobs and all that. And what it said was in 1940 to today, right? 2025. Back in 1940, 6 out of 10 jobs that exist today did not exist in 1940.
that's
And
crazy.
that blew me away. And it gave examples, of course, IT manager, cybersecurity, digital marketing. I think it tried to break down of how this has always been happening, but we can't get too worked up about it, right? And it's always just innovating, and innovation is always happening. But what it shows too is some of the examples of, if you don't innovate, like the Blockbuster example with Netflix is a great example. And I think they use it in the book. Somebody else will. And it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, but it's somebody and other people will be continuously innovating in their company and staying on top of what's new, trying things, failing at other things. But the moral of the story is like continuously trying to
Yeah.
be better.